everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Oh Shoot. This is a much requested episode. We've done this a few times, but I am back on the podcast with Charlie.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well.
Yes. So Charlie's here. We haven't done a confession episode in like a couple months, like maybe 2 or 3 months. So I wanted to throw another one out there because you guys just have the wildest stories, like literally just some of these stories are insane. So yeah, we're going to go through some fun confessions, but Charlie, welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I mean, we've been really busy. Life has been going fast, as I'm sure it has for all of you as well. But yeah, just hard to keep up sometimes.
So what are you drinking today?
I'm currently drinking my French press coffee, as you can see. Maybe you can see
if you're watching on YouTube. So the reason I asked what you're drinking is because I wanted to share what I'm drinking. So I normally drink like matcha chai, but I got an Olipop today and I'm drinking it out of a cute little cup.
Is it root beer?
Yes. A root beer Olipop.
We're not really pop people, or soda, depending on where you're from. Sorry if I offended anyone.
I'm sure everyone listening says soda.
Yes, I apologize. I'm sorry.
It's
not
okay.
my point. We don't really drink soda. We don't drink pop. So to be able to try out the Olipop or Olipop, however you pronounce it, and try a bunch of different flavors. The one that I've had previously was like a orange creamsicle, I believe.
Yeah.
Wasn't my favorite, but willing to try other ones.
Yeah. Okay. So what's been new? Do you have any updates for the listeners?
I mean, I feel like all my updates are basically just house renovations and where we're at in life with those different things. I mean, editing has been good recently, just trying to get through our first wedding of the season, which is fun.
Yeah.
We had a fun time out in California. Yeah, I mean, we just had some carpet done in our house, which was really cool. I ripped out a couple things, like a door jamb at the bottom of our staircase to try and open up the entrance to our basement, too. Our house is like a split-level home, so the staircase to the basement actually opens up to still pretty tall ceilings in the basement, which is sweet. But there was a door jamb that kind of like made it lower on the entrance than what the actual height of the ceiling was. So
yeah,
I just wanted to, I was like staring at it for a long time, trying to think whether or not I could actually take it out. And I decided to just pull the trigger when we were ripping the carpet out to get ready for the new carpet. And I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks really good. I am like a new carpet type of girly now is what I've discovered, because this new carpet has like changed the way that I feel about our basement and like our upstairs, which I knew that it would, but I just didn't realize how much of a difference it makes. It literally makes it feel like a new house. Like when your carpet is new, it literally feels like a new house.
Yeah, we had done most of the flooring in all the other areas of the house, or at least like the main living spaces of the home. So to be able to kind of do the main living rooms were both carpet, and it was original to the house, which we got cleaned when we first came through, and we had done some stain treatments and different things, but it was still pretty musty rough and grungy. So yeah, definitely don't underestimate the justice that new carpet can do for your old home, your old fixer-upper, because it has done a wonder for us.
So the other thing that I wanted to mention is we're currently recording this in our living room, which this is the first time that I've like really recorded a podcast or done like any type of content in our living room. I think part of the reason is because when we got new carpet in here, we rearranged the furniture a little bit, and like the couch that we're sitting on faces the window, so it's like good for lighting, because before I thought about recording my podcast in the living room, but like the good couch I would sit on was like side lit, and it just wasn't good for lighting. So yeah, that's another thing. If you're watching on YouTube, you will see we're in the living room.
Yeah. And welcome to the living room. Hope you enjoy the space.
Yes. Hope you enjoy it. So the only other thing that I wanted to say for this intro part is I told everyone on last week's podcast about the toiletry bag situation.
It was a very tragic situation.
It was very tragic. So I just kind of wanted to hear your thoughts and your side on that, because I, obviously shared my experience, but just let everyone know about how I traumatized you.
I am not sure every detail that Cassidy shared with you, because I didn't listen to the episode. Sorry. But she tried to initially blame it on my uncle for distracting her.
Oh, no, I didn't. I said it was my fault. But what I will say is, like, his uncle, like, said goodbye to us and must have seen the toiletry bag on the car. It was right there. And, like, let us drive away with the toiletry bag on the car. So part of me is, like, all of this could have been avoided if he would have just said something. I guess I could ask him, like, if he saw the bag.
I guarantee you he didn't see it.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like you would have seen it, but maybe just because of like the excitement of the day, didn't.
He's a little bit more vertically challenged of the people in my family, so I don't think he necessarily has a very good line of sight to the top of the vehicle.
Okay, gotcha.
And we were driving a Subaru Outback that had like roof rails on it, so it was kind of taller even with that. So I don't know. I don't think he really saw it. Long story short, I don't want to get lost in that detail. Initially, Cassidy, when we were retelling the story to my sister at the end of the wedding day, tried to blame it on my uncle. And I, in the moment, or at least the way that I saw it myself, tried to control my reaction as best I could while we were shooting. Because
you did.
We had the bride and the bride of honor, excuse me, the maid of honor with us in the car.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I can't really lose my cool at the moment. And I'm not really the type of person to ever have like an episode, but I probably would have been a little bit more animated had it been just Cassidy and I together.
Yeah.
I definitely tried to control my response to that.
That's literally what I said in like when I was telling the story in last week's episode. I literally said that you were like, you held your composure and like we kind of moved on from it, but I could tell that you were like upset by it, which rightfully so, I would have been upset too, but you like didn't really like let that on. So that's what I said.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, and I am thankful that you felt that I also kept my cool.
Yeah,
decently.
you did. I mean,
I had to run out in traffic, and
yeah.
I'm in my suit, and I'm like in these Doc Marten Oxford shoes that I bought and love, but they're like cutting my ankles. So I'm like, because they're brand new. So I'm running into traffic. My ankles are on fire. My stuff is smashed inside of my toiletry bag. The bride and maid of honor and Cassidy are waiting on me. So I'm like, this is a very hectic situation. So
yeah,
I tried to just keep it under wraps and move forward with it, but it did set me back like a week or so. I just like waiting for trying to source all of the random products that I had that I didn't really realize that I had kind of like manicured this, just personal set of stuff.
Yeah.
And we all do that. Like you all have your own little like go-to products that you use over time. So I just didn't really think about it in the moment, realizing like, wow, I have like quite a few things that I need to like replace now because of this. So, I mean, just think about it for yourself. If you were ever out traveling or something and you lost your entire toiletry bag, like, you have a lot of stuff to take care of.
Yes, it's true. And, sometimes though, like, not to just like completely skew the situation, but I wouldn't be completely mad if someone did run over my makeup bag, because it would be like an opportunity for me to like replace my stuff or like get something new. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't even imagine how expensive it would be if you had to replace all of your stuff.
Yeah.
Compared to me, like I still spent probably a little bit over $100 replacing all my stuff because I had just random things that I needed to buy. And then I also got a new bag as well. So it was like, I just had a random list of things. But if you were to do that with all your makeup.
Right. I don't even know if I could. Like, I don't even think I can keep accurate track of everything that I have. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would just replace the things that I use daily. But I don't know if I, off the top of my head, could even think of everything I'd replace. That's why I would just get like new stuff. Like I just get stuff that I want,
Yeah. The funniest thing that I didn't really think about that was going to be the biggest setback for me in losing that bag. As a guy with a mustache, I did not realize how integral a round brush had become to my grooming routine or like getting ready
to
routine.
brush like your
To
curl.
literally get my curl on my mustache. So it took me a long time to get a new one back in from Amazon that we ordered. So
yeah, well, I'm glad that you're back and you are able to continue your mustache routine now.
We're back and better than ever.
Mustache Man is back. He has returned. For a while, it was just kind of like, oh, there's that man with that like long mustache. But now with it curled, Mustache Man.
Texas Longhorn or Curly Q.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so let's get into some confessions.
We should do it.
Yeah. So we have confessions. As you guys know, Charlie sometimes has a hard time reading them for some reason. So I'll go first. And what?
I am here to pledge that I am going to kill this reading.
Yeah.
The thing that messes me up is the way some of you type.
Charlie.
I said it. And I will stand by it.
Okay. Yes. Sometimes like when there's typos or like not enough punctuation, it's confusing. Yeah. I get that.
We love you guys and we thank you for your submissions, but work on your grammar.
Okay. So I'll read the first one. Okay, so this one has a grammar thing already. Dang it. Okay. Back in my first days of my photography business, I lost an SD card in a field of long grass during back-to-back family sessions. I spent almost the entire night walking around the field to find it, but I never did. I even recruited my siblings and my parents to help me look. The family was so gracious, and I refunded them and reshot their photos. To this day, I still drive by that field and think about the SD card with a full family shoot on it somewhere in the grass.
And it honestly could probably be recovered if you found the SD card.
No, for real.
It amazes me what some of these SD card recovery companies can get out of old stuff that's been damaged or formatted.
Well, I feel like though, like if it's in the grass, it probably has been like rained on. It's been muddy and stuff.
But that's what I'm saying. Even with that, like the recovery process that some of these companies are able to get like data or whatever off of damaged goods is insane to me. Yeah. So maybe you should get a metal detector. Get yourself
a metal detector. That is smart.
Get yourself a pointer dog. Have the dog smell your camera and get your scent. And then go out with your metal detector, get your hunting pointer dog, and go find yourself that session.
A metal detector is a really good idea. Honestly, though, it's like, is it really worth paying for a metal detector?
I was going to say, the time is not actually worth it, but if you're that keen on getting it back, you'll do what it takes.
Yeah. Okay. So I am so sorry that you have to deal with that and you have to think about the SD card every time you drive by. It's like a little ghost that haunts you, you know? The ghost of the SD card in the field. I'm getting like creepy vibes from this story for some reason. It's like the middle of this field with this long grass, and every time I drive by, I think of it, and it's lost of the park forever.
The ghost of the park took the SD card.
Babe, no one can hear you when you whisper like that.
I have to whisper right into the mic. The ghost of the park took the SD card.
You're saying the ghost to the park of the SD card?
The ghost of the park.
The ghost.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll just move past it.
I just don't really feel like that's the best wording. But
you just were trying to like make it into a different story, so I thought I'd add to it, but I guess I'm only making it worse. Here's the next one. Very short. I found a recent wedding client on a dating app.
First of all, slay. You're always working. Even when you're like trying to date someone, always got that switch in your head of like, you know, you could be a wedding client. So, okay, this is the scenario I'm thinking of. Like this person like matches with someone and they talk for a little bit, but maybe it doesn't work out. But then maybe like they kind of stay friends or whatever. And then the person that they were talking to ends up getting married to someone else and then asks this person to be the photographer. Right? So like it's like
no, like wedding client, like someone that Okay, maybe we're interpreting this a little
I found a
differently, but
recent wedding client on a dating app.
yeah, like someone who they already did their wedding.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say you interpreted that differently than I
was
did.
thinking like I found a wedding client on a dating app. Like I booked a wedding from the dating app. Oh, but you're saying like
I'm thinking they're talking about like someone who they shot their wedding.
Yeah.
They just recently saw them on a dating app.
That makes more sense. And that is crazy.
The confessions.
Yes. Bro, that's insane. I mean, especially if it was recent, I would be like, yeah. It's either like they broke up or it's like this person's like sneaking behind the back of their partner. Both are like crazy. Okay, I'll read the next one. Sorry, I was waiting for you to read it, but it's me. The way that this one starts out. I wasn't wearing underwear at one of my first paying shoots this year. Okay, first of all, okay, never mind. I'll just keep going. But I had a long dress that went to my ankles, so I was like, yeah, this will be fine. We were climbing some rocks on the beach, and my backpack was so heavy I lost balance and fell straight onto my butt, legs in the air. My dress came up, and this poor senior got way more than she paid for, that's for sure. That is so funny. Also, like, it's a senior, so like, that's probably illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you put it like that.
I think what we've learned is like wear underwear when you do shoots. Yeah. And honestly, sometimes even like thongs, like don't even like, I want full granny panties because you just never know. Like, that's why I'm so scared to wear like dresses and stuff to weddings or like anything that I shoot, but specifically weddings. Like, I'm just like, you never know what's going to happen. Like a gust of wind could take my long dress and like bring it all the way up to my head. Like I don't know. I feel like it's just so unpredictable. I'm always wearing like spandex under all my dresses.
Trying to stay ahead of your Marilyn Monroe moment.
Yeah. I'm trying to like not have a situation like we just read. Yeah. That's horrifying. I would be mortified. I would just stop the session. I'd be like, here's your money back. Like, please just go away. Like,
I will tell you, I have worn underwear for all of our shoots.
Good. Oh my gosh. Good for you.
As a confession.
Okay.
One time I didn't double check the address I put in my phone and ended up driving almost 2 hours in the opposite direction of the wedding I was shooting. Backstory. My lead shooter texted me the address, but my phone didn't recognize the town, only the street number and road name. So I guess I was closer to that address in another state than that address. I ended up driving like 70 mile per hour and was only 45-ish minutes late and cried in the car the whole time.
Oh, that's horrible. Wait, so it said that there was another photographer there?
So I'm guessing this person was like a second shooter that was working underneath of this other photographer and was supposed to meet them there. But
the
based
lead
on
shooter texted the address.
Based on the address they got, the phone didn't really pick up the right spot and
gosh.
took them to a different spot in a different state.
That actually happened to us with an Airbnb that we just stayed at. Like, not obviously like it wasn't a shoot, but like when they gave the address of it, they didn't give like city, state. They just gave the street name, and there literally was a house with that street name that was an hour away from us, like in the middle of the state, versus we were going all the way up and it was like 2.5 hours away. And so I knew that the place we were supposed to go was north and like about 2 hours away. So when I saw it was an hour, I was like, that's not right. And I looked, it literally was like, it was taking me to a different address.
Yeah. And sometimes the issue is you have like similar city names, or even sometimes the exact same city names, but different places.
Yeah.
And even sometimes the same street in different cities.
Yeah.
I actually had that once when I was back for the college and we were doing like music.
For the college
that we were going to. Excuse me. I didn't mean to speak in impartial sentences.
It's okay.
We were traveling for music stuff. and it was like a Midwest kind of tour, and it was from like New York all the way through like Ohio, Indiana. So it's a long drive. But one of the churches that we were supposed to be like visiting and going to do music at, we got the wrong town name, and the driver that was with us, which I could tell you the name of the person, but they ended up driving the opposite to the wrong town.
Uh-huh.
And then we get to the time of where we're supposed to be rolling up and getting set up for this service that we're going to be doing. And the guy calls from the church that's like one of the hosts, and he's like, "Where are you guys?" And like, "We're almost to your place. Like, we're over here." And then we realized, or not we, the driver realized he had driven 2 hours towards Ohio instead of crossing the border and going into Indiana, the town that we were supposed to be at. So we flip around because of the way that they had things scheduled out. You were supposed to have like a buffer of time to be able to get this entire setup, like mobile setup for all of the music stuff, and then have time for a sound check, and then still have a little bit of extra buffer time to be able to just mingle and meet people, and then actually go into the service. So that moment, we flipped everything around, the van, the trailer, all the stuff. We had another van that was caravanning with us, which I don't understand why they didn't tell us at the time that we were going to the wrong spot. I guess they were just all caught up in it as well, in the same confusion. And so we turn around and get over there and rush to that other spot.
Yeah.
And we basically get to the church as it's like supposed to be starting. And we just doing a completely acoustic setup without practicing or doing anything.
Yeah.
And just ran it the way we had to. And we were all like super stressed out about it.
That is so stressful.
Honestly, this happens more often than you would think.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the confessions we get are like, I went to the wrong spot. Like, I was reading through some of the confessions, and there were multiple that were saying like, I went to the wrong spot. And like, it's almost like you can't be like 2 hours early to everything, because like it would just be crazy to do that. But like in a situation like that, like sometimes it is better to leave yourself like an extra hour or 30 minutes when you're driving somewhere, just in case something does happen, and like just give yourself a little bit of buffer time. I'm the type of person that will like be like, oh, I'm supposed to get there at 11:30. It takes me 30 minutes to get there. I'll leave at 11. Like, I literally give myself to the minute like time to get there. But I feel like it would be a good practice to not do that and like give yourself like 30 extra minutes.
Yeah, and I think because having GPS mapped out to the minute, that's how a lot of people are nowadays. Is everybody is like more so thinking about right down to the minute rather than giving yourself buffer time.
Yeah, it's like I want to like maximize my time and be efficient, but like sometimes you gotta leave early. Okay. So this next one is long. I had a 2-hour elopement booked. When the bride sent me the location, I have a feeling that this is a location one. When the bride sent me the location, I clicked it and saw the picture from Google Maps, and I freaked out because I thought it was a place I've always wanted to shoot at. Fast forward to the day, I got to the location 1 hour early to make sure everything was good. I was in awe of the beautiful place. Sorry, this is hard to read. I was in awe of the beautiful place. Then it comes time for the scheduled meetup, and she messages me saying she's by the soccer fields. I pause in disbelief for a second and say, soccer fields? There's no soccer fields in this park. And that's when I realize I'm at the wrong location. I look up the directions to the correct place, and it's over an hour away. The places are extremely similar. They have very similar mansions and gardens. So I got too excited thinking it was the one I had on my bucket list. Short story, I missed the ceremony they had. We did 45 minutes of photos. I offered them a refund and a photo album. They said it was fine, and then I got ghosted afterwards. It took them 2 months to download the photos, and I never got an address to send the album. It's more like a nightmare story. I sure learned a lot from this, and now I confirmed the location at least twice prior to the session and event.
I think we've exhausted our point on communicating about correct addresses.
Have we learned nothing? I think it kind of sucks that like you just like tried your best to make up for it, and they like in the moment they were nice, which I guess is good, but then like afterwards like they just ghosted you, and like didn't want the album. They basically wanted nothing to do with the whole thing.
Mistakes happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And this person has learned from it, they said, which is awesome. That's what we want. We are learning from these stories, guys.
I bet you are always in the right place at the right time now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would be. Definitely.
Here's the next one. I went to shoot an engagement, and when I arrived at the proposal spot, she was crying, not happy tears. I asked what was wrong, and he said he had already proposed, and she said no. It was really awkward, and I just left. Then he called me 20 minutes later to ask if I could come back because she had changed her mind. I said no, but ended up doing them later. They broke off the engagement a year later.
Wow. How did the proposal happen before the photographer got there? Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, how does it just happen? Like, because this person obviously hired a photographer. So, like, they popped the question without the photographer being there, even though they hired the photographer. That's weird. I wonder if, like, maybe the girl, like, sensed that he was going to propose and then, like, started to kind of have a talk with him about it. And then, like, that's kind of how it happened. Yeah.
She probably caught wind of it.
Yeah.
Tried to get out ahead of it.
Right. Yeah. So then, like, they're not embarrassed in front of a photographer, you know, like.
And then the dude just tried to continue to coerce her into engagement.
Yeah. Well, obviously, like, she changed her mind, which that in itself is like, like, if you said no, like, trust your gut and don't say yes right after. Like, I'm sure he influenced her saying, like, deciding to say yes, you know?
I mean, it's complicated.
Oh, yeah.
Relationships are so tough at times. Just trying to figure out those things is so many facets to think through. So
yeah,
it's not always super clear cut.
It's true. But I think the awkward part of it is for the photographer. Like, like showing up and then it just being like, they're in tears, like, already. And then, like, getting a call, like, later and being like, hey, can you come back? Like, I'm glad that the photographer said no. Honestly, like, I'm such a pushover. I might have been like, oh, sure. Like, I'll take the photos right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be.
Photographers, I swear, like, just get, like, all the family drama. They get, like, all the tea. They deal with all the baggage, you know? Like, I feel like that's just part of the job, you know? Okay. Sometimes the reason I won't post a client's shoot or wedding is because I hate the editing direction they decided to go with, even though I did it. Well, are you confused by that?
Like the editing direction. Like, aren't you the person that controls that?
I think they meant to say the editing direction I decided to go with, even though I did it. Like, not saying that the client chose the editing direction.
Yeah, even still, if you look at your work in its completion following and you look back on it, like, recent enough that you would be posting it to social media, why wouldn't you just change your editing?
Because sometimes it takes time. Like, that's a lot of work to, like, re-edit a session. Like, that's a lot of time. And sometimes it's just not worth it. You know, like, if the client liked the edit and like the photos, like, yeah. It's just a lot of time that it takes to re-edit just for a post.
I guess it makes sense. I am still relatively new to the process of editing galleries in their completion and its holistic nature of, like, beginning to end. I've only kind of previously done just, like, small editing segments. So I guess I'm not really able to relate to that yet. Just the feeling of looking back on your work.
Yeah.
And being like, man, like, what was I thinking when I did this? But I'm sure I'll get to that point.
Yeah. I feel like this person, like, yes, the editing is, like, that's a decision and, like, that changes the photos. But I do feel like a lot of the times it's, like, the way that it's shot as well. So it's kind of tricky. Like, I definitely feel this, like, sometimes it's like I took the photos, I edited them. This is completely, like, my doing, but I just don't like how they turned out. Like, I feel like that's just part of like the artist side of it, is like literally being like, I created this and I don't like it. Like, it's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's different seasons. There's ebbs and flows that
Mm-hmm.
your editing takes different directions over time.
Yes.
All right. I once asked a bride to unbend her wrist when doing bridal photos in front of her entire wedding party. Turns out she had a medical condition and physically couldn't.
Oh.
And I had no idea.
Oh no, that's just tough. It's tough. There's no way of knowing unless you like ask on a questionnaire, you know? That's
Yeah, like a things I should know type of,
yeah.
like, hey, my wrist is like pretty crooked and I can't really do anything about it because I've got XYZ.
Right. But I don't know. Sometimes it's like, I just don't want to disclose some things. Like, let's just not be nosy and like just, yeah. But I feel like at that point, maybe it's just like take social cues. Like, yeah, that's so tough. I feel like if there's like something physical that I see, I don't always address like that exact thing. It's almost like I try to like either change the pose or do something different and see if that thing changes. And if it doesn't, then it's like, oh, that might be like
Just
a medical condition. Yeah. Or like, yeah. Oh, but that's just, I can imagine that feeling that you have after you say that. And it's like, I just want to crawl in a hole.
Yeah, we used to have a professor that would talk about being stuck in awkward situations, and it was related to trying to get to know new people, and it was just based on relating to different people in different social settings.
Mm-hmm.
And he would he had this phrase of saying, stew in a crock pot, of like feeling like we know it's awkward, but I'm just going to stew in the crock pot.
What
like I'm
going to
get in this
mean?
and just let the awkwardness of the situation, I'm just going to get in the middle of it and just let it cook.
Okay.
Like it is what it is. I can't change it. Like we know it's super awkward. Just going to let it stew in a crock pot.
Okay. That's an interesting saying.
I wouldn't ever personally say that saying as like a catchphrase. But for some reason, that is always like stuck in my mind now when I think about awkward situations. I'm like, I can't change it.
Right.
You can't change it.
Yeah.
We're going to just do this.
Right. Yeah. It's, you could use the phrase like, I can't change it. Like, you know.
No, I know. It's just funny.
Yeah. That's funny. Okay. So this next one is from a sports photographer. It says, I did pics at my ex's school. He's still in high school. Even though I knew I wasn't going to have anyone book me from it, but I knew him and his friends, seeing that I was successful in my business, that he didn't support my business, would make him mad. So that's why you did the photos. It's petty, but you know, if you've got the time to be petty, I guess, you know. I
guess there's a reason why it's an ex.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, like
were they an ex? So I guess, yeah, okay. I'm sorry. It just occurred to me that they were already your ex by the time of you going to do the photos, which is.
Well, I'm assuming
took me a second.
It kind of feels like part of the reason they are an ex is because they don't support this person's business. So like, they should support your business. I just can't grasp that concept of like not supporting what your partner wants to do and like their dreams and passions. Like, why would you not support them? You know, like maybe, okay, like let's say this person like their ex kind of doubted them because of like financials. Okay. Like, oh, like becoming a full-time photographer, that's hard financially. I get that. But at the same time, like you can voice that and not just be like completely against it too, you know?
Yeah, I mean, or like the idea, like some people might just think it's not a very realistic goal to go full time with it or to actually pursue it as a career. So maybe they just had some preconceived notion of like, I think what you're doing is kind of dumb, to be honest. But then by the time that she was actually getting successful in making a living for herself, kind of turned into more like bitterness or jealousy from the other person.
Yeah. We actually don't know if it's a girl. So
Whoever,
I've been
guy
trying to
or
say
girl. Excuse me.
they because we just don't know. It's hard to tell. Yeah. This person's an ex for a reason. That's all I got to say. Like, let's keep him there. And, you know, if you want to flaunt around at school and just be like, here's my camera, I'm a good photographer, like, go you. Like, you do it. You stay confident. I feel like for me, I would be so, like, I wouldn't want to be seen, and, like, I feel like it would be so awkward. And, like, I would not have the confidence to just, like, walk around my ex and be like, here's me, like, living my best life. Like, I feel like that would be challenging. So good for this person. Like, you've got the confidence, and confidence is key in photography.
For sure.
It
And
really is.
even sports photography too.
Oh,
being
yeah.
able to catch the right moment at the right time.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Here's the next confession. I accidentally put an alarm instead of a calendar note scheduling, and my phone started ringing when the wedding started at church.
Oh, no.
I turned it off and act like it never happened. Luckily, no one picked up that it was me after.
That is horrible. Horrible. Have you ever had your phone go off during a ceremony?
I literally never have my phone on full
No.
ringer.
My phone has vibrated before, like, in my back pocket, and, like, I've been, like, up at the front. And, like, I feel like the vibration is kind of loud.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a quiet enough moment, you definitely could hear the vibration. But
Yeah. I've definitely shot many weddings where someone's phone goes off. Like,
honestly, it happens more often than it doesn't happen.
yeah. And usually it's during, like, a good time, though. I've never had it happen, like, at a horrible time. But I feel like the entire wedding, like, it going off for any of the ceremonies is a bad time.
I don't think there's ever really a good time, to be honest.
I think what's bad about that is, like, it was the photographer's phone, and, like, you had good intentions, but then, like, those intentions just, like, really came back and bit you in the butt. I feel like the photographer, like, must have been so surprised that it was them, because they just didn't expect their phone to go off. You know, like, you thought you set a calendar and had no idea that you set a literal alarm.
Yeah, it's probably disorienting in the moment
Yeah.
because you're thinking, why is my phone going off?
Or you're thinking, what loser has their ringer on?
Yeah, you're like looking around like someone needs to turn their phone off.
Yeah.
Clearly.
And it's literally you.
I need to turn my phone off.
Yeah, for real. My fiance and I are both impatient, and we did our own first look last night by ourselves in my kitchen. And then we danced. Our wedding is in 3 weeks, LOL. That's just cute.
I'm sure it was a precious moment.
Oh, yeah. And if that is you and your vibe, like, why not? Like, do it. Like, that's so cute.
As long as, I guess as long as you guys are both on the same page about it.
Yeah. It's adorable. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that it's, like, the secret thing, though. And, like, it's 3 weeks away, and, like, you're just, like, both too excited, and, like, you just want to do a first look. Like, that's so cute. It's adorable.
Did you have a photographer?
They probably didn't.
Did you record the moment? Did you set up your phone on the side?
Who knows? I
Just
mean,
for yourself, not even for social
if
media.
they're writing into a photographer podcast, I feel like they must prioritize photo a little bit, don't you think?
Oh, please tell me you documented it in some way.
Yeah, that would be so cute. Just like a little video, like dancing in your kitchen.
This is a video confession podcast. Send in your video confession
Yeah.
of the moment that you guys danced to your first look 3 weeks before your wedding.
So cute. I can't. We should have done that.
No. I forgot to configure my settings between my two cameras for a wedding, and I accidentally shot my couple's first dance and parent dances and giant guest group photo in JPEG.
Oh, no.
Delivered the gallery, and the couple hasn't said anything. So
It is what it is. The thing that sucks about that is it's so beneficial to shoot in RAW during low light moments, because you're really able to, like, bring out a lot of detail in, like, the darker areas of the photo. And I'm assuming like if it's dances and a reception and like group photos of people, that's probably pretty dark unless you use a flash. So that is a really tough time to have JPEG images. Like if it were during bridal portraits or something, I'd be like, oh, that's fine, like whatever. But the fact that it's during like those low light times, like that is very tragic.
Yeah, the moment they're gonna like realize it is when the family goes to like print the big family group photo.
Yeah.
And it's got like 2 pixels on
Yeah,
it.
for real. But also like I don't feel like that's something that necessarily the couple would notice. Especially in the final
gallery. It's gotta be like the trained eye.
Yeah. Like it sucks for you, but I really would doubt like if the couple would notice. And
Yeah.
like they said, the couple didn't notice. So
And I bet you configure all your cameras now.
yeah, for real. Okay, here's the next confession. I hate marketing. Maybe partially due to the fact that I really don't know what I'm doing when it comes to marketing. This is funny because I feel like this is a very relatable thing. Like people just hating marketing. I feel like people just hate it because they don't know what they're doing. You know, like it's just a common confession. This is for
quick,
the people.
Rapid fire. Give us your best 2 not really serious but very serious marketing tips.
Oh.
Go.
Oh no.
First thing.
The first thing I think of is being consistent and authentic on social media.
Okay, that was very serious and very good. So for the second one, think of something that comes to your head that isn't very serious.
That's not serious.
Cassidy, come on.
Don't be afraid to dance in a video and post it.
Dance.
That's not serious.
Break it, bust it down.
Bust it down. Break it down. It's literally
Who is it? Tatiana? Bust it down, Tatiana?
Bro, I don't know.
It is.
Okay. So like what the reason I say that is because it kind of goes into like the authentic type of thing, but like I feel like dancing videos and just like videos where you're being silly and goofy, they actually are really good marketing. Like there are so many social media accounts and like TikTok accounts that are just so funny and not serious at all. Like Duolingo and like how that little mascot thing they have like twerks. Yeah. And like just is so funny. Like that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting at. Like it's actually really good strategy because I think because they're so big on TikTok, their app does well, you know, like it goes hand in hand.
Creates more relatability.
Yeah, totally. All right. Is it me or you?
It's me.
Oh, yeah.
Don't take my turn.
Sorry.
There have been multiple times where I didn't charge my camera battery before a shoot / didn't bring a backup and just pretended to take photos the last 10 minutes of my client's session because my camera died.
My anxiety could never do that. I think I did mention this on the podcast once where I had a proposal and I thought I charged all of my camera batteries and I brought 3 fully charged batteries and all of them didn't charge and all of them were at like 10%. And so I was like switching and like using 5% and then switching halfway through the proposal. It was so stressful. And I just like ever since then, it's like I'm either double checking that everything's charging or I'm bringing a charger with me. That would be helpful at like a wedding, I guess, like at a session. It's not helpful, but yeah, it's happened before, at least to me.
And I think we've had other similar confessions before, specifically about the piece of faking the last section of the
I don't understand how
sessions.
you do that.
And I'm like, guys, let's charge our batteries.
Yeah. I could never like in good conscience do like fake photos for 10 minutes and like know that in the final gallery they're not going to get any of those poses. Like I just couldn't do that.
Yeah, because we had that conversation about faking poses whether or not your clients actually remember the poses that you have them do.
Yeah. I feel like they have to.
And I in that conversation more so argued that a couple's not going to necessarily just remember any random pose that you had them do during a session. And then I think I read back on the comments and a couple of people were like, no, yeah, I definitely would remember every single pose that a photographer would have me do.
Yeah. And I feel like, Yeah, you remember the poses, but you don't necessarily look for it in the final gallery, though. Like, I feel like in the final gallery, you're just excited. You've got photos. Like, you're not like, oh, where's this one pose that we did walking on this street? Like, why is it not in here?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell what people would think about it.
Yeah. It's just like, it's the 10 minutes at the end of the session. Like, that just really does it for me. Like, for me, I am just being like, okay, my camera battery died. That's all we can do. Like, I'm not pushing it to the next step and literally lying and like pretending. Like, I just don't have the acting skills for it. I could never. Okay. Let's go to the next one. I have a 3-week turnaround time, but it takes me max 1 day of strict editing to do a session. I'll cull the same day of the shoot, but won't edit until the day they're due. That one sounds a little familiar too. I think it's a common thing that photographers are doing. This is a common occurrence.
I don't have the leisure ability to be able to just like go super fast with my editing, so I can't procrastinate like that when it comes to working through it.
It's true. Charlie is still working at turtle speed when it comes to editing. No offense.
Tortoise in the hare. Cassidy is the hare, and I'm the tortoise.
Yeah. But, you know, I don't personally love the idea of procrastinating editing something until the literal due date. I feel like clients really appreciate when they get their photos early. So unless you have like a mental due date and you're procrastinating to that date, I feel like it would benefit all the listeners if you do this to maybe deliver sooner than the due date.
But don't deliver it the same day that you call and edit if you really are that fast, because then some people are going to have some questions.
Yeah. I feel like what's hard though is right after the shoot, you want to edit and cull it. And you just want to deliver it. Like,
when
that's
it's fresh on your mind.
Yes, when it's fresh. But then there's the other side of it that's like, okay, well, it lost its freshness. It's not as interesting to me. So I'm like, I just want to procrastinate this until the due date. I feel like there's no in between. Like, we do this thing where it's like, I want to edit them in cull immediately after the session, or I'm not editing them until the day that they're due. And then there's 5 weeks in between, and there's just nothing, no feeling there, you know?
I was going to say, because even a 3-week turnaround time is still relatively quick.
Oh, it said 3 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is pretty quick. Yeah, I usually shoot for 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think 4 to 6 in busy season is kind of the...
It's 4 to 8, but yeah.
Whatever.
I never go 8. I never go 6. I'll do like 4.5 is like the longest I'll go. Because I just, I don't trust myself.
All right, here's next. I have been shooting as a hobbyist for about 6 years now, and when I am editing photos in Lightroom, a lot of times I feel completely lost because there are editing options that I have never touched in Lightroom.
I think that's a very relatable confession. There's a lot in Lightroom. Like, I think the only reason that I know a lot of stuff in Lightroom is because I literally like teach people and like I make presets and stuff. But like you,
it's literally like
Charlie knows nothing.
I feel like I'm in a room just full of objects that I'm not allowed to touch.
Oh yeah, yes. And please don't touch them.
Like, I just walk in, and how like a little kid like gets yelled at for like touching things in a stranger's house, or like the first time their parents bring them to a new house and they're not supposed to touch anything.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna break it or hurt themselves. That's me. That's me with Lightroom.
Yeah.
I feel like a toddler that is going to break anything I touch.
Yeah. I feel like the most common areas that people just don't love or just don't get is the tone curve. And I would say the tone curve is like 80% of the confusion in Lightroom. And then like areas at the bottom, like calibration and like maybe color grading and stuff like that. It's just like most people just stay away from it.
I'll be real with you.
Yeah.
Some of my confusion is not even related to like options or tabs. It's literally like sometimes I'll accidentally click in a window and I'll get stuck in a certain view and I lose the options that are like sucked behind the window. And I don't know how to get out of a window if I get into it.
Charlie is a little challenged when it comes to Lightroom and Premiere Pro, which are the main programs that he works in. So there are times where Charlie's like, yeah, I've been staring at my screen for 20 minutes because I can't figure out how to get this window to come back. And I'll be like, oh, hit this button. And then it comes back. And he's like, oh, thanks. It is how it goes. You kind of have to learn through experience.
Yeah, I feel pretty dumb often when I'm editing.
Yeah, that's a confession.
Sorry.
You're really relating to this confession right now.
Yeah, this
You
one
are?
definitely struck a chord with me.
It hits home. I can't relate. Unfortunately, I am perfect in Lightroom. So
okay.
just kidding. I am so unhappy doing family photo sessions, and I'm planning on rebranding to elopements only. I'm so scared to make the announcement because family photos are a majority of my bookings, but I know I need to go after what I love doing, which is capturing love and connection between couples. You know, this might not seem like a crazy confession, but to this person who is in just the family photo like area right now, like that's a big deal to want to completely switch and do weddings, elopements, couples. Well, I think they just said elopements, but like to just want to do that, like, and have to tell your clients that, like, that's scary.
Yeah, I think even the piece of if they've been in that space for a while, and most of their connections are families, like their clients are people with families and young families, and that's a lot of their like maybe friends or whatever have you. I think there's a certain level of anticipation of potentially offending people too, which could be adding to the intimidation of wanting to make the switch as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that go into it.
And like probably like financials too. Like if you're used to, primarily shooting families and like that's what you've been doing, it's hard to know if you're even going to get elopements and get weddings and couples. Yeah. That's so scary, but honestly good for you. Like
you can do it though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, you can, especially if you're taking good family photos. Like people can see your work and your style through family photos, you know, like, yeah.
And I think a lot, like one of the things that we always come back to when we're talking about like we've had conversations of people trying to maybe avoid further work with a certain couple or not wanting to book a wedding with specific people just based on the fit or maybe the direction that people want to go with their wedding doesn't necessarily flow with your style of photography, but they still have an inquiry with you or whatever. I feel like the thing that we always come back to is just people appreciate honesty and being straightforward about it. And so I feel like if you've made a lot of genuine connections in the family photo kind of sphere over time, I think if you just tell people when they reach out for more photos, like, hey, I just have really transitioned in my work and wanted to go a different direction with it because I feel a lot more passionate about this specific type of photography, I think people will take that well. Yeah, I mean, some people might be upset about it initially, but if you know them and they really do care about you, they'll support you in it.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. You got this. And whoever wrote this in, you can do it. For real. Be real, be authentic. Okay, I'm actually going to read the next one because, yeah, I feel like I'd be better at reading it than you would be.
Okay, well, now I feel like I need to read it. Just because
I'm going to
read
it. The thing that's hard is there's like a quote in there. So it's like a whole different level. Do you want to try it?
I can read.
Charlie, we know you can read. We've heard you read.
I can read well.
Okay, then do it.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, my bad. Are you
Here's
going to do
the confession.
Okay.
I deleted the wrong wedding Lightroom catalog, 2 catalogs of a wedding pictures, one with both cameras and one with only one camera, and delivered their pictures from one angle when there were 2 cameras going at the same time. Bride and groom have no clue. I have given them pictures from one angle. Delivered the pictures. I even gave them more than promised. She is in love with them. She literally said, "It was a pleasure having you as our photographer. You and your man were an amazing team, and we were so thankful to everything you did for us. I loved the mock send-off, too. Great call. Have a great rest of your day, girl. Take care." I didn't miss any moment, but still, I feel horrible. I cried. The reason I didn't give those pictures was because, as mentioned before, I had one catalog with all pictures uploaded, and the other one I only had from one. Did I back them up? Nope. Have I learned my lesson? Yes. Yes, I have. I feel so bad.
You read that well. Good job.
Other than the fact that you did not shoot with your mom. You shot with your man.
Yes.
Sorry for the slip up.
Yeah. Lightroom catalogs are tricky. Just catalogs in general. Also, we've been working in Premiere Pro a lot, which is like video editing. Like the project files, it's weird. I think Premiere Pro is a little more confusing than Lightroom catalogs are. But like this just goes to show, like, double check things before you delete them, especially if it's something you haven't delivered yet. Like I have this thing where like I can't format an SD card if I haven't delivered the images off of it yet, even though I've offloaded it, whatever. You just never know. So this is just a good scenario of like a good example of a scenario where you should double check and triple check things over. I do think it's funny that literally the client didn't notice, which is a little funny to me because I feel like second shooters are so valuable, but like at the end of the day, is it really noticeable if you like do or don't have one?
You're in very potentially offensive waters, so tread lightly.
I just feel like sometimes, like, with angles, it's hard to tell of like, it's hard to tell if you had a second shooter or not.
Yeah.
If you're a good main shooter, like, it would be hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't think most couples are able to. I would say the majority of people looking back on their wedding day are not going to be able to tell
Yeah.
which individual took which photo.
Yeah.
Because even we had a second shooter at our wedding, and when I looked through our photos, no way for me to tell.
It's kind of a good thing though. That means that like you and your second shooter have like consistent shooting style and everything too.
Yeah.
So, wow. Okay, that was crazy. All right, here is our last confession. High school senior here, and I'm currently in my third year photography class. Each year I sign this form that's half waiver, half things you can and cannot do with the equipment loaned to you, basically a bunch of rules. In that form, it specifically says to not use the equipment to benefit yourself, meaning making money for yourself with it. And I've ignored it once or twice and let people pay me for my photos and my work. Obviously, using the camera and lenses borrowed from my school. But here's the catch. A couple other kids in my class are doing the same thing, and my instructor literally doesn't care. He knows about it. Am I really breaking the rules then? This is tricky territory.
Yeah, we're talking about matters of the conscience.
Yes. Yes, we are. And I have a similar situation that I was in. We've talked a lot about the college that we went to in this episode for some reason. So at that college, I was on staff with them and I was working as their photographer, which I mentioned a couple episodes ago. But basically, they had all of their own equipment and stuff. And it was like, for the time, it was good, like up-to-date equipment. And technically, you couldn't use the equipment to make money or like whatever to benefit yourself. But it was pretty like widely accepted that you would do it. And like everyone would sign waivers to say that they weren't going to, but you just like would do it. So it's tricky because like it was widely accepted and like everyone like used the equipment for personal. But it's a matter of like whether or not you think it's right or wrong. Personally, I didn't think it was wrong because, everyone was doing it. My boss knew that we did it. Like, yeah, it just was like not a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like looking back on the situation, like whoever this person is that wrote in, you're probably going to look back on it and just be like, oh, it was kind of silly for me to be worried about that. Like you're probably not even going to think about it much because it's probably not a big deal. Yeah, that's just kind of like what I think.
I think sometimes it is as big of a deal as you make of it. And so the more you talk about it, the more you bring it up, the more attention you draw to yourself with it, the more issues that are going to arise out of it. But if you kind of have like an unspoken agreement with your teacher that like, hey, just don't do anything stupid, don't break the equipment,
Right.
don't sell the equipment, like, then yeah, sure, bring it back in one piece, a little bit of wear and tear, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the way it is.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun situation to be in. Honestly, I loved having gear that wasn't mine, so I could almost like try it out and see if I liked it, and then I could go buy it for myself. That's where I got to use a lot of like lenses that I probably wouldn't have bought for myself, like the 70-200, a 24-70, like lenses that I probably wouldn't have the resources to buy at that time. So yeah, it's a cool opportunity. However, yeah, just be careful. And honestly, though, good for you for slaying in high school and doing some shoots. I feel like that is the time where like photographers really like a lot of the photographers I've interviewed on the podcast have said their spark for photography started in high school, and like that's how they got to where they are today. Like it started as like this small spark when they were in high school. So if that's you listening, like good for you. You have the spark and just keep going, keep pursuing it. It's exciting.
It's cool that you're able to get this experience that early on. I mean, if you're third year, so you've been doing this since you were like 15, 16 in your sophomore year. So, man, I mean, stay with it and keep getting after it.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all the confessions we have for today. Charlie, thanks for being on the podcast. And everyone, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed another juicy episode of Confessions, and we will be doing another one shortly, but that's it. Do you have any final words to say?
No, thanks for having me on, and sorry for calling any of you out with poor grammar. My poor reading is not your responsibility.
Yes.
So I'm here to get better and improve.
I think we both struggle with reading. I think that's I had to redo a reading literally 3 times on this episode. So it's a struggle. But thank you guys so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day.